Belly's guilt and Conrad's response in that moment were tied with, and it was tied how each of them processes the family breakdown and all the tension around it. Both thought she was the villain, blamed herself for choosing between brothers. Belly internalized the idea that her involvement with both Conrad and Jeremiah ruined the family harmony. From her perspective, the Fisher boys' fights, the Caldwell fretting, the distance between them would trace back to her presence. Carried the weight of Cabo and the breakups. She was the one who caught in the middle when Jeremiah blamed Conrad, and later she saw herself as the reason why things spiraled. This made her feel like the villain who had broken what was left of their family unit. Why Conrad said she was not the villain. Recognized shared responsibility. Conrad told Belly she wasn't the villain because he knew the collapse of their family dynamic wasn't on her alone. He saw the grief over Susanna, Adam's controlling presence, and Jeremiah's insecurities, and his own mistakes all contributed. Wanting to reassure her, Conrad's nature is to take on guilt himself, but in that moment he shifted the burden away from Belly. By saying she wasn't the villain, he tried to give her back her sense of worth and remind her that she was not the sole cause. What Conrad said all of them had a part in it. Family fractures aren't one person's faults. Susanna's death left everyone raw. Adams pushed Conrad unfairly. Jeremiah lashed out physically and emotionally. Stephen sided with Taylor instead of offering balance. Conrad himself withdrew and struggled to express his feelings, acknowledging the complexity. Conrad's view was more mature, and every family member had made mistakes, and his judgment couldn't be pinned on just Belly. By broadening the blame, he was both protecting her and showing the growth and recognizing the bigger picture. In short, Belly's personalized the family's collapse, but Conrad reframed it as a collective failure, grief, bad choices, insecurities, and pressure from Adam, not something Belly caused or should carry alone. Let's go step by step in the concrete examples of the story. How Belly thought she was the villain, how Conrad countered that by pointing to everyone's part in it. The Cabo fallout. Belly's view. She thought she ruined Christmas in the Cabo trip because of the tension between the brothers. Jeremiah blamed Conrad. Belly, being in the middle, felt like she triggered the rift. Conrad's view. He knew it wasn't just her. Jeremiah made choices too, blaming, escalating, being physical. Adam played a role by pulling the family strings. He didn't see Cabo as Belly's fault, but as a fallout from the bigger family fractures. The call fretting. Jeremiah Belly's view. She felt like the wedding was called off because of her. Conrad confessing to her right before, and Jeremiah's insecurities making it seem like she was always the reason. Conrad's view. He told her the wedding didn't fall apart because of her. He put the blame where it belonged. Jeremiah's doubts, Adam's pressure, and his own timing. Insisted that Belly wasn't the villain in that. Pace and distance. Belly's view. Moving the pace made her think she had to get away because she destroyed the Fisher brothers' bond, even the cousins' house memories. She saw herself as the one who broke what was left of the family. Conrad's view. When he came to Paris, he reassured her it wasn't her fault. The family was already broken by grief, Adam's controlling nature and Jeremiah's anger. Belly wasn't the root cause, just caught in the storm. Susanna's absence. After Susanna died, she thought maybe if If she'd been better at holding everyone together, they wouldn't have drifted apart. Conrad's view. He reminded her that everyone was grieving differently. Jeremiah lashed out. Stephen distanced himself with Taylor. Conrad himself shut down emotionally. It wasn't on Belly to carry that weight. Conrad would. We all had a part in it. Conrad concluded himself in his inability to share his feelings of open, causing misunderstandings. He included Jeremiah, whose anger needed to compete over Belly created deeper rifts. He included Adam, who constantly stirred conflict but pressure on Conrad. He even included Stephen and Laura indirectly because they didn't always step in to mediate. Point. Belly was not the villain. Everyone, including Conrad, had a role in the family's breaking apart. In short, Belly carried the blame personally because she was in between the brothers. But Conrad, Ryan, and Lynn's grief, pressure, choices, and mistakes from all of them caused the fracture, not just her. Exactly, you pinpoint one of the most distant parts of Belly's arc. Belly wasn't torn between Jeremiah and Conrad at this stage. Was torn between fear and honesty. She worried about hurting Conrad again, or about ruining things if she admitted her true feelings too late. The hesitation wasn't about Jeremiah at all, because by this point she already moved past him emotionally. The moment she put on the infinity necklace back on was a symbolic turning point. The necklace always represented her connection to Conrad and the idea of forever. But she threw it again before telling Conrad how she felt. Belly reclaimed that bond. Sacredly cling to herself, it always has been him. When Belly finally told Conrad she chooses him, it wasn't a competition choice. It was a affirmation of what had always been there. Jeremiah wasn't part of that equation anymore. He was her past, someone she recognized she had already let go of. Her struggle is never about Jeremiah versus Conrad, but accepting her own heart and finding the courage to voice it. People often misinterpret Belly's hesitation as a still conflict between the brothers, but really she was just processing her fear of causing more damage. The infinity necklace seemed proved so clearly. She chose Conrad in her heart before she even said the words out loud. So the real story is, Belly was never closing between Jeremiah and Conrad. At the end, she was leading to choose herself, her truth, seeing Conrad openly and without guilt. At the end, when Belly and Conrad arrived at their cousin's house, it was just two of them. Symbolic full circle. The cousin's house is where everything began, their childhood summers, Belly's first crush, the foster family bond. By the end, only Belly and Conrad there. It shows they came full circle, but as equals and as a couple. No interference. All season there relationship with Jeremiah, Stephen, Taylor, and the fallout of the family drama. By arriving alone, the narrative clears the noise. It's about them now, without outside pressures. The forever moment, Conrad tells Belly she isn't the villain. They both acknowledge mistakes of everyone involved. Then they set the future that belongs to just the two of them. The cousin's house became their place now. No, they were not expecting anyone else. The scene is intentionally quiet and intimate. It's not about reunions or family gatherings anymore, but about Belly and Conrad choosing each other in a place that shaped them. The choice to make it only Belly and Conrad emphasizes that the love triangle is over, the family conflicts are beyond them, and their story is moving into a new chapter together. The cousin's house really does act like a character in this merchant party. Let's look at why it mattered that Belly and Conrad's final moment happened in there instead of Paris or anywhere else. the house as the heart of the story. The cousin's house is where every summer began, where Susanna brought everyone together, where Billy's feelings for Conrad first blossomed. It was not just setting. It's not just a setting. It is the soul of their shared history. Bringing the story full circle here shows that Billy and Conrad's love isn't new or sudden. It had been woven into the walls of this house all along. A symbol of family and loss. After Susanna's death, the house became a source of pain and conflict. Adam wanting to sell it, the brothers fighting, Jeremiah and Conrad pulling away. By the end, when Billy and Conrad returned alone, the house shifted from being a place of grief back to the place of healing. It shows they reclaimed it, and not just for themselves, but in Susanna's spirit. Contrast to Paris. Paris was an escape. Billy ran there to find herself, get away from the foster drama, and to breathe without the weight of the family expectations. But Cousins represents home. Choosing to end there instead of Paris shows Billy and Conrad were no longer running. They were rooted together in the place where it all began. The house is a witness. The house has witnessed every moment. Billy's childhood summers, Conrad giving her the infinity necklace, the heartbreaks, the fights and the laughter. Ending with the house again makes it feel like a silent witness to their final choice. That after everything, Billy and Conrad chose each other. Unlike Paris, where Billy had friends, jobs, and school, Laura's house, where family dynamics rules, Cousins is theirs. Ending their signal at the start of Billy and Conrad's independent story. No distractions, just them. The memory of Susanna watching over them. In short, the cousin's house is more than a backdrop. You can have one. The cousin's house is more than a backdrop. It's a symbol of beginnings, of loss, of healing forever. The perfect place for Billy and Conrad to step into their future together. Okay. Tryhard Summers, Preseason 1. Billy's beginning. Billy spends every summer there, growing up around the fishes. Bond is Jeremiah and Stephen. Family bond. Susanna and Laura's friendship made the house the second home for Billy. Symbol of the house, independence, warmth, the foundation of Billy's summer self. Season 1, Billy's first transformation. Billy shows up to Pretty for the first time. The cousin's house is where Conrad really sees her differently. First, where Billy and Conrad sparks moments like the night swims, junior mint, and the debutante ball, all tied back to the house. A symbol, a piece of possibility and lost love. Season 2, conflict over the house. Adam wanted to sell it, which tears everyone apart. The fight for cousins. Billy, Conrad, Jeremiah work together to save it, bringing both healing and tension. Symbol shifts from being a carefree space to a battlefield for Barbie's future. Season 3, fractured family. After Susanna's death, the house becomes very heavy with grief. Wedding fallout. The Fisher brothers' fights and Billy's guilt cast shadows over the house. Symbol, the home of the heartache and loss. Endgame, pairs to cousins. Billy puts the necklace back on. Her decision to love Conrad is tied to their shared history. The infinity necklace connects back to the moments in cousins. Final arrive at cousins. Billy and Conrad show up alone, ready to start fresh. Symbol, full circle. The house returns to being a symbol of healing, forever, and love. The cousin's house smears Billy's journey from innocent crush to first love to grief to renewal. It was also last tied to Susanna. Ending here makes it feel like she's giving her a blessing. By having by having only Billy and Conrad there, in the end the house finally belongs to their story and not just a triangle. Not to Adam and not to Jeremiah.